Good morning. This is Bob with County Records Research. Today is Wednesday, February 15th, 2017, a beautiful February day, and we're going to be looking at our website today. This is our Wednesday webinar, so we're going to be looking at basic use of the site. We're going to give you a little tour of the website itself, and then we're going to log into our account and show you some of the functions and how we do our research here at County Records Research. So first of all, I'm looking at my main page on the site. You see the name of the company on the top and our 800 number, and then here to the right you see our chat live support login option, and that's online. So we do have somebody that's manning the chat window as we speak. So if I saw this with the online, with the green dot here, meaning go, then I could select my online chat support and ask questions that way. Well, good morning, Rich. Welcome to the webinar. And so what we're doing is we're going to give you just a walkthrough. As you know, we've done some changes since the beginning of the year, so we just want to make sure in our Wednesday presentations that people that haven't used the website for a while don't get lost when they're trying to find their information. So again, as I said, up on top I've got the 800 number and the chat button. Now below we've got some a little bit different format. We've got these buttons just below the 800 number. Now our foreclosure processing section is on the face of the website twice for clients that are using our services to buy notes and need us to do foreclosure processing on their behalf. So if I put my cursor over the foreclosure processing option up here on top, then I get all the subcategories that people can go through if they want to see what the foreclosure trustee timeline is, what the various forms are, and send a request for more information to be contacted if they want to start a foreclosure with us. Next to that is our pricing option, and that's if I just want to see the different pricing options for the website. Next to that is my free trial. You notice the free trial here is at this point, but also slightly below we have a free property search, and then the 5-day free trial here to the right. Then is my login option to go into my account, and then about us, and then home if I've transported myself to other pages by going to my options below. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the options below. And you'll notice that we have 4 different category sections in our little toolbar section here below. On the far right is that foreclosure processing section. Again, all the subcategories. If anybody's interested in buying notes or has a note on a property and they're interested in finding out what the foreclosure process entails, this is helpful. If you're interested in a junior lender buyout strategy or a loan purchase strategy, as Kurt has done very effectively over his career, then we recommend that you look at the foreclosure processing section if need be to just get an idea, because what the main point is about buying a note and then foreclosing is if the note hasn't already started a foreclosure, then I need to go through the whole process, which takes about 5 or 6 months. So bottom line is it's helpful to know the process first if I'm intent on buying a note. I've had clients come to our service that want to buy a property right away, and note purchasing tends to take a longer time frame simply because, again, if I have to start a foreclosure, you can't make a foreclosure take any more or any less time than the law requires. Now on the borrower's side, and you'll see this as you do research on the site, some borrowers are able to extend the process of foreclosure beyond 5 or 6 months by filing bankruptcies and using other strategies on their side of the fence. Remember, you know, it takes 2 to tango and it takes 3 to foreclose. It takes a borrower, it takes a lender, and it takes a trustee who's processing the foreclosure. So whenever you have a situation where you've got adversarial relationships in the process of a foreclosure, the other guy can always try and slow the process down because it is a legal process. So just be aware that when we're looking at our different methods, the reason the website gives you so much detailed information is so that you know whether or not you want to go with that method. Now, I got to tell you, some of your best deals are with buying notes. And no other company that I know of can walk you through the process like we can for such a small monthly fee. So keep that in mind, is that if you want to find those deals, you just need to learn the processes and then understand for yourself which methods work best for you. Now, for most clients, this section is not necessary. For most of our clients, the training and support section, which is just to the left, is what's going to help you with most of your questions. Foreclosure 101 is an overview of the foreclosure process and timeline from the perspective of the investor. So it's very helpful to use Foreclosure 101 as an article to help you understand the basics. Industry terms and definitions will also help you get some clarification on what different terms mean that you're going to come across in our discussions and our literature. Below that are free resources and links. This is a variety of different websites that you can go to, from investment clubs to law firms and insurance providers. There's even a link for a group that has set up an online like chat room type relationship situation. And if I open it up, that's Flipper Connection, and this is like some people go to LinkedIn to find business connections. Flipper Connection is more intent on helping you find other investors, contractors, and other parties that you might want to do business with in that way. Foreclosure Forum is a website that's run by Ward and Eric Hannigan, who Ward has been buying properties easily as long or longer than Kurt, and has a lot of valuable information in the form of articles on the site. He's also a trainer that offers one-on-one training if anyone's interested in how to do your own research. Okay, so it's also helpful if you want to learn more from Ward. Below that, again, you have a lot of different websites, including law firms, insurance companies, and so on. So feel free to go to our links page if you want to learn more. And then you've got different video training. A lot of the video training is also going to be on YouTube. And we have a YouTube channel under County Records Research. Those of you that might be watching this video at a later time will actually probably find us there. Those of you that have joined us live have probably done so either through an email that we sent out with the link, or by going to our calendar of upcoming events that's over here on the far left-hand side. So go to our training and support options. That'll give you some various videos, including how to use the website. They've all been updated recently with all the changes that we've made in the site. So we encourage you to go ahead and use all of our support programs that we put together that are available 24/7, so that when you do call in with questions, we can get right to the heart of the matter and help you reason through the different investment methods that we have available to you through County Records Research. Okay, now to the left of training and support, to the left of the center of the page, here are a group of different pages that you can go into if you want to set up, for instance, an affiliate account and become a retail partner with County Records Research, help drive business to our website, and potentially gain revenue. This is especially targeted towards investment clubs and brokers and realtors that want to develop, or entrepreneurs who want to develop a relationship out in the marketplace with other folks that are interested in foreclosures. Perhaps you want to help people do their research. Perhaps you're wholesaling. Perhaps you developed a real estate club where you're coaching people on how to make money. There's different reasons that people will set up their affiliate program with us. Just remember, it is there so that you can drive business our direction, and so we can give you financial reward back in your direction if people pay for the service. So that's there. Our trustee sale bidding service login option is for people that want to join our bidding service in addition to their regular account, and they want to buy properties at the foreclosure trustee sale, but they don't have the time or the inclination to go to the auction themselves. Remember that bidding at the auction is not for everybody. Some people love it, and they once they start doing it, they can't wait to go to the next auction. Other people go there one or two times and walk away saying, this is just not for me. So remember that as you're using the service, we've tried to provide you a variety of ways that you can use the data effectively, and you're not lockstepped into one specific method. Some people love to go knock on doors. Other people won't do it, you standing behind them, pushing them towards the door. They just won't do it. Other people, like I said, love it. So as you're looking at the different methods to use the data, remember that you're not locked into any methodology. And some of our most successful subscribers have used multiple methods. Okay, some people go to the house to make an offer, but not to buy the house necessarily from the homeowner, but to do some research, to find out what the condition of the home is, and to find out if the house is actually occupied by a renter or by the original property owner, because this is how we find out things other people don't know. This is how we go up and walk up to the property and look at the condition of the paint. We look at whether there's mail stacked up. We look through the window and see if we can see all the way to the back of the house and all the furniture's gone. Okay, if you know a few things, then you know a few things more than someone else, and that might be making the difference as to whether you buy a property. And I can tell you, learning a few facts can also help you make determination of what your price point is. And this is the most important point we want to make to you when you're making decisions on buying real estate. You need to establish a value. You need to establish a price point that you as an investor are willing to spend on that property in the current condition that it's in. That's probably the hardest decision that people have to make, is looking at the circumstance. What am I willing to spend to buy this property? And making sure that there's no chance that you're going to push the envelope and go above that number, because even experienced investors will tell you, when they have made mistakes, the mistake that they've most commonly made is that they overvalued a property based on incorrect information. And if I set too high a value on it and I overpay, especially if I get excited at the auction and let my emotions sway me, and I brought too much money with me above and beyond my target price, then if I get excited and I just have to be the winner, then I could potentially make a bad judgment call and I could overpay for a property. So the most important thing to do is set that price, and don't change your business model because somebody else has decided on a different price, because that person could own the house next door, or they could have a passionate subjective reason for paying more for a property. It could be the house they grew up in. So don't let someone else's decision change yours. Okay, keep your mind clear and your goals clear. Okay, now below this is are some options that I can go into only if I've logged into my account, one of which is property search and the other is our forms page. Now, property search and forms are part of your account, so just remember, if I'm not logged in, I can't jump into those sections yet. Now, frequently asked questions is similar to our terms and definitions over in the training and support section, so that helps you with just some questions that we've had answers. We've had to give answers quite a few times, and so therefore we just put together a list. Below forms is our testimonials. These are some folks that have used the site and gotten some great deals, and so they like to let people know that this is the place. Below that is a section where we can sign up for our trustee sale field trips. These are live events. I'll show you more about that when we look at our calendar of upcoming events. Below there is a section to sign up for a tutorial called Foreclosure Basics. This is where we pick up properties that have recently sold and upcoming drop bids that are coming to let you know what's in the rear view window, but also what you can see coming. Because the more you absorb this information, the better you're going to be able to identify opportunities, because what you're going to see is sometimes the opening bid at auction is too high. Okay, sometimes it's ridiculously low. Okay, and I was just looking at one out in Palmdale that I thought was ridiculously low, and I thought that looks like someone got a great deal. And then I opened the profile on our site and I saw a big blue tarp covering the roof of the property. So I had a sense of, well, maybe there's a reason why the opening bid was reduced to such a low amount, because what lenders do is they have someone go to the property, a broker or realtor, and they perform what's called a BPO, a broker's price opinion, for the lender. And in that case, if it was obvious to the broker or realtor that the property was in disrepair, And obviously, if with the amount of rain we've been having lately, if someone's got a blue tarp over their roof, that does signify that there's an issue of roof damage, and that could potentially translate into mildew or other major critical damages within the property. And if it's abandoned, of course, and there's roof damage, then that means that there's no one there to resolve issues and dry things out, so things could just get worse. So if a lender observes that there are issues such as roof damage or fire damage or anything, that's one of the ways that investors who are using our service who are also contractors find some fantastic deals. So now, am I saying that the person that bought that property with the blue tarp on the roof made a bad decision? No, that person could be a contractor, and they could know the cost of taking that property down to the studs and making it gorgeous. And they could have looked at that and said, you know what, I just got myself a $200,000 property for 60 grand. I'm going to turn this into a rental, and I'm going to be, doing well. I mean, they could turn it perhaps even into a duplex if they know what they're doing. So looking at your opportunities, and again, setting your price point always determines whether or not you're going to walk away as a winner. Now, below foreclosure basics is our email notifications. This is just simply to get notified of upcoming events that we've got coming up. So again, feel free to request going onto our email list and getting information. Now, further over here to the left are some just basic contact us. Register now is where you go to set up a regular account, the monthly service. Now we also have a blog, which is where we set articles, and I'm just getting ready to throw a blog article on there this afternoon or tomorrow. So that's our blog if you want to check that out. Terms of use, obviously, and then calendar of upcoming events. So this is our calendar of upcoming events, and we update this on a regular basis. So we've just put a couple of items on here on our trustee field trip section. These are our trustee sale field trips where Kurt goes to the auction location for a specific county, and we pick a date and a time, and we set the time in direct relationship with the auctions that are taking place. So we usually target the starting time about half an hour before the auctions are set to begin. That way, if you're targeting 8:30 and you show up at 8:45, you don't really miss anything. So on the 24th, which is next Friday, the 24th, Kurt's going to be in Corona, and the address is 849 West 6th Street. This is Riverside County, and this is your primary auction location for Riverside County sales. So again, we pick the optimal location for you to see as many potential sales as possible, and we set our time so that if you run a little late finding parking or getting yourself settled, you're still going to get a chance to hear everything Kurt's got to tell you. So this is on the 24th, and now the next one after that is in San Bernardino County. So Riverside County on the 24th of this month, and then San Bernardino County on the 17th of March. Okay, and that's at Central Avenue in Chino. And again, this is also the preferred location for lenders that are holding auctions on foreclosure properties. That's why we picked the location that's going to have about 80 to 90% of overall sales for that specific county. So we're going to get the most out of the field trip and potentially see the most properties sell. If I scroll further down this page, this is where a lot of people come to our webinars each week. Is they go to the weekly go to meeting section, which is just below the field trips, and we have a hot link every Wednesday and Friday for those go to meeting links, and then we have a click here option to go to our YouTube channel. Now, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see pre-recorded webinars we've done from other weeks, and we have started getting a little bit more caught up on adding additional videos and webinars there. And as I said, we've updated our how to use the website videos, and they're on the same channel on YouTube, so feel free to grab those. Now below that is going to be what we use to schedule our outside engagements other than field trips. Most of the time these are going to be evening presentations. So this last one was one that Kurt just did at the beginning of this month, where he was out in West Los Angeles. with Sam's Real Estate Club. We've got another event that's going to be coming up in April, I believe, with a company or a group called Paper Source, and that's a note purchasing symposium, and we're going to be doing that out in Las Vegas. So keep an eye on your calendar of upcoming seminar events, because we will be posting unique events as we get invited to attend, and we'll be letting you know if there is a fee. For instance, Sam's Club charges a price prepay and a price at the door, and whenever we're invited to someone else's group like Sam's Club or Paper Source, then just remember that if it's not our party, then if there's a fee to get in, it's because that entity or group has to cover certain expenses related to their group. So for instance, Sam's has to rent a room for the presentation. Paper Source, I believe, has a hotel room that they've got for the presentation. So there are going to be some fees, as well as people actually paying to spend the night. I think that event goes on several days through the weekend. So if you want to find out more about it, you can Google Paper Source, all one word, or just wait until we get this information changed in our speaking engagement section, and we'll have hot links so that you can go ahead and look at their information, and they're very informative. Okay. Now, if I simply hit my back arrow, I go right back, and I'm right back at this section. And I think that pretty much covers it, except we notice that we have a button here for investment clubs if you want to find an investment club in your area. If you don't see a club that you're part of that's in that list, let us know, because we always want to keep our club information up to date. We have Seminar Highlight Podcasts. These are audio recordings, and then Q&A with Kurt Demir is a series of small videos where Kurt answers questions, and that is also going to be on our YouTube channel. So again, if you want to see some training, go to our YouTube channel, take advantage of the updated videos, and take advantage of our webinars. The more saturation you give yourself intellectually with the data and with the ways that we do research, the faster you're going to be able to obtain opportunities and reason them out. Because again, we have to reason out the deal, we have to set a price point, and then we have to go after it in the best way possible. So now I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to select my login option, and we're going to look at some of the features of the site. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my username and my password. And then I'm going to go ahead and type in. Now, notice this image is fairly clear. I don't have to capitalize the letters. I just have to get them in the right order. So I've got some very clear numbers and letters. I think I got it right. You know, sometimes it's a coin toss with my eyes, but I'm going to go ahead and hit submit and see if we're in. And we're in. So now, once I've logged into my account, I'm at the welcome page on the website. So it says welcome, and then right above welcome, notice it no longer says login. Now it says property search, and to the right of that it says my account. And here are all my options to access my internal account options. My properties, my searches, my folder management window, and if I want to go into pulling downloads in a database format. We have some people that have different software that that wants to pull in a database format, so Classic Properties is there for that. Okay, you're probably not going to use it as a newer subscriber, but we have some folks that have literally had the service for 20 years, and so that Classic Properties is essentially for them. But feel free to look at it. It's simply downloading groups of properties by date that they're loaded into our system, so it's there. So that's my account, property search. Now I can also scroll down this page, down below my list of all my county zones, and there's the property search option again, and then also the Classic downloads if I want to go there. Now, if I saw that I didn't have all the county zones I wanted, notice also to the left here is a click here option to add zones, but I have them all, so I don't need to do that. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back right up to the top, and I'm going to select property search, and I'm going to get into my property search screen. So now, once I've entered my property search screen, notice that I have the option to select the zones that I want to search. So I've got 5 states here. I've got California, Nevada, Arizona, Washington, and Oregon. If you're a subscriber that's been with us for a long time, you know that this has grown over the years. Washington and Oregon are the newest states in our system. We just added these as of the beginning of 2017. 2017, we think it's going to be an exciting year. There's a lot of reasons why there's the potential for an upsurge in foreclosures. First of all, as we do our research, we're seeing more and more properties going into default with young loans, loans that are 2 years old or 3 years old. We're seeing properties that have been in foreclosure for 6 or 7 years, where the lenders have finally said that's enough. They've given modifications, they've fought bankruptcies, and now they're taking properties to sale. We're also seeing an upsurge in the reverse mortgage properties, properties that the homeowner has actually passed on, and therefore the property goes into default because that's how that's how reverse mortgage notes unwind themselves from the property, and the property either goes to auction or someone goes to the family members and buys the property the old-fashioned way. They make an offer. And we encourage you, have an open mind, because you never know how you're going to buy a specific property, and as you go through the report, you never know which specific property you're going to buy. Anyone who shopped for real estate knows that you go out and make offers, you never necessarily buy the very first house you see. Okay, in fact, as a matter of fact, most people that have a history of buying real estate will tell you, it's hit and miss. And sometimes you'll have a flurry of good luck, and other times you'll have a dead time where you're just not making any of the deals close. So you have to understand methodology and develop your system and use the data so that you have the best catalog of people that are in delinquency who are under a specific form of pressure so that they might need to sell. So now, whenever I want to look at an area, I'm just going to grab LA South. That's one of my preferred spots. That's one that I've bought properties in, I'm very familiar with. So if I scroll down, I'm going to pass my single property search. We're going to try and look at that a little later on. I'm going to go down to my general property search section. Now, my general property search section is divided into two main sections. It's got my general search where I make specific choices, and this is where I select property types. This is where I select the status within the foreclosure proper. But this is also where I can specify cities. Notice the word city here and then boxes on the right hand side. I can add up to 3 cities. I can add up to 3 zip codes. I recommend either or, don't do both. Okay, with this section, as we make criteria, we limit our search results. So if I say I only want Long Beach properties, I'm going to lose everything in Signal Hill. If I say I only want Signal Hill, I'm going to lose everything in Lakewood. So if I act brashly and I say I only want Long Beach, then again I'm losing potential properties that are a stone's throw away. So don't be too specific until you get, unless you have a very specific requirement. Now, if I have a very specific requirement, then I'm going to use up to 3 cities or up to 3 zip codes. Or I'm going to go down to a lower section here, which is our mapping function. This is where we create polygons. So let's say, for instance, I've got a client that wants me to buy them property, wants me to find them property opportunities in Long Beach. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to center my map on Long Beach. Now, I'm just using left click, and you notice the little hand here is letting me move my map around. Okay, so I can zoom in, I can center. All right, so let's say, for instance, my client has a specific requirement. They love Belmont Shore and Naples Island, and they want everything in between Ocean Boulevard and Appian Way. Okay, so let's just say that's what my client wants. They're open. Okay, duplexes, single family homes, whatever. Okay, so let's just say Mr. Smith wants properties in this area. So they want anything on the peninsula, they want anything on the island, and they want anything in this Belmont Shore area. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my polygon or mapping function for this particular client. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, let's put a dot here. Now you can't see it because it's just one point, and if you've taken geometry or anything, you know a point is a point, and it literally is picking that one point, and you can't see it because they're so small. Now, if I put a second point right here in the water, notice what I just did is I just created a line between the 2 points. Now I'm just going to left click again, and notice what I'm just doing is I've just created a polygon section. And a polygon, the whole point of a polygon is it's not limited to a circle or a square or a triangle, and I can make it as creative as I want to make it to fulfill my needs. So now, once I'm out in this part of the ocean outside the coastline, I'm going to go all the way out here, and I'm going to use as a breakpoint, I'm going to use Livingston Drive here. So I'm just going to take, and I'm going to make another point following this diagonal of Livingston Drive. I'm going to go right there. So notice what I've just done. I've just created pretty much 2 sides, even though this one's kind of got a snaky design to it. I've created 2 sides of a box. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue by going ahead and putting another point here. And then I'm going to go further up here, and I'm going to say let's just include right up to where this Recreation Park Center is. I'm going to go up Nieto Avenue, and then I'm going to just take it a little further up, and now I think I can connect these last 2 points. Now, when you get to those last 2 points, you don't want to try and do that yourself. That's too hard for us to identify the exact connecting points. That's why we have a button for that called Close Polyshape. So watch what I just did. Is that not a weird shape or what? But I just targeted exactly what my client asked me to find in terms of geographic limitations. Now, I'm using the map function instead of picking cities or zip codes, okay? Because my client said, I want this area, okay? And so I'm being very specific in my choices. Now, if I go further up, there's an option for me to save it, because let's say that I've put this together because I'm sitting with my client and going dink, dink, dink and making this polygon, and he says, okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Well, you know, if he says it's perfect and that's what he wants me to work with, I need to save this so I can use it later. So this is my Belmont and Naples polygon for looking for properties in Long Beach. So I have the option to save this search. Now, save this search is up here, right over the choose one option. It's also down here on the left-hand side. I forgot where the button was. It's right here down below. Now, I like to use this one, and I'll show you why. Now, if I click on, now before I do, notice it's on Notice of Default Filed, and that's fine, okay? And I'm not worried about the date ranges, okay? Don't worry about the dates when you're saving a search, because when we save a search, we're memorizing the options, but then later on we can change them around, and we're not worried about the dates, because whenever we go to pull that search out of our Save Searches folder, the system is going to automatically change the dates to make them relevant, okay? If I save a search today and I go to do the same search in June, the system's not going to go, oh yeah, Bob just wants to look at February. No, it's going to push the dates forward to whatever the date range is that's applicable to the search I'm doing then. Now notice with Notice of Defaults selected, the system goes by the listed date, or the date we added the record to our system. And because notices of default do not have an auction date, by the way, some sites might show you an auction date related to a notice of default. That's hooey. Okay, because a notice of default is the first step in a foreclosure, and then that causes a 90-day period or a 3-month period that the lender has to cool off before they issue a notice of sale. Now, does the lender always issue a notice of sale exactly at the 90-day point? No, because they don't have to, but they can't issue it before then. So you will see some other companies will tell you, oh, if the notice of default came out on February 1st, that the auction's going to be, let's see, March, April, May 1st. The auction's going to be May 22nd. Okay, they don't know that. Okay, they're guessing. Okay, now what I can tell you this is, we can show you how to set up a saved search. So if there's a notice of default that came out today, February 15th, that I can be ready and I can see that notice of sale as soon as it comes out. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. So first of all, we're going to have a notice of default search. Again, don't worry about the date ranges, all right? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save this search with no. Now, before I do, I can select a property type if I want. Remember what I said earlier, my client said he wants houses or duplexes or anything. So I could say residential if they only want single family. I could say apartment if they only want duplexes and above. But like I said, I'm assuming my client wants anything, or if I'm doing this setup for myself, I've got an open mind. I wouldn't mind buying a duplex and living in one of the units and renting out the other if I can live on Naples Island. Why not? Why not? Okay, so open mind. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save this search with simply the polygon for Belmont and Naples and notice of default selected, and watch what happens when I hit save. Now, there's a couple of things I want to tell you. Notice that when I set my search up, I only picked one county zone. This is important. When you're setting up a polygon and you want to search a target area, limit it to one county zone. You're going to have so much more success by limiting your searches to one county zone because you're able to set up the save search function and you're able to receive leads into your inbox in an automated fashion. And I'm going to show you that. Now, since I hit the save function, look at what happened. Below save this search, there's now a window. Okay, this window is where I'm going to give this search a name. So I'm going to call this my Naples, Belmont. Now I picked NODs, so I'm going to say NOD because the notice of default filed right here, and I'm going to say poly. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Okay, now this is my save searches window. Now what happened is when I hit the save option, the system memorized all those terms that had been saved and it transported me to my save searches folder, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom because that's where this one's going to be. So this is my Naples, Belmont, NOD, poly, and poly is for polygon. That's the geometric figure that I created around that city. Excuse me, around Naples and the Belmont Shore area. Now if I click on the name of this saved search, it transports me back to my property search screen. Now remember what I had done earlier is I selected LA County South, I went down, I debated on whether I wanted to use zip codes or cities, and I finally created this polygon here. Okay, now it's all memorized. Okay, now I could have been more specific in terms of my polygon. I could have made it smaller, I could have made it bigger. Now I do need to limit it to just my county zone, so that's why you notice I didn't include Seal Beach because that's part of Orange County. Okay, so LA County South, I limited myself just to my target area, Belmont Shore and Naples. Now, up on top, I had notice of default filed, so that's my specific target. Now, let's say that I've got notices of default, I've got this target area. Let's go ahead and do a quick search of the polygon. Now notice there's two different types of search buttons here. Search without and search polygon. So if I hit search polygon, okay, nothing. I got no notices of default in my target area. Okay, whenever you run a search and you don't get any records pop up in your target area, there's a reason for it. So it's telling me that there were no notices of default that popped up in that target area within a date range. Remember what I said, whenever we click on that save search, the system will give us a date range. And with notice as a default, it's always going to be listed dates. So watch what I'm going to do. I now know that there are no notices of default in my polygon from 1/31 to 2/15. Okay, so guess what? I can change the dates now. So I'm going to change these. Let's look at January, because this is basically giving me all of February, right? So let's go to, now notice I just clicked the calendar and I'm changing my first date. I'm going to make that December 30th, and I'm going to take that out to January 31st. It should let me do that because it gives me up to 32 days as a range. Actually, that other one was the 31st, so I'm going to do the 30th. So I'm going to do the 30th to the 30th, okay? Because this is the 30 days prior to that 2-week range that I just searched that gave me a big goose egg, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit search polygon again. Now I got a result. This is a map. Now, there's only one. So obviously I'm being, my selective search range is very tight. So this is on the island. This is on Naples Island, and this is on Venetia or Venetia. Okay, I know I butchered that one, but so this property, 117 Venetia or Venetia Drive. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open the profile just to see what it is. Okay. Now, this is a notice of default record in our system. Now, I'm just going to point out a few quick things because this is what our records do, is they tell us a story. So what I have is I have a property on Venetia Drive. Now I'm going to zoom in. I've got a map here, you'll notice, and I'm going to use the wheel on my mouse. Now, if you're using a tablet or a phone, you'll notice that you got magnifying glasses over here on the left-hand side that allow me to zoom in and out, but they're pretty abrupt. Zooming in and out. Now, if I use the wheel on my mouse, I have a little bit more control. Okay. Now, if I hit my bird's eye option, I can see the property. Okay. And what I like to do is use these little curly cues with the arrowhead just to make sure I'm looking at the right house. Because is it this one or this one? Because notice that blue dot kind of rested on this one here, but then it looks like it's actually this property here. Now, if I scroll down a little bit, we've got Zillow too, because I wanted to see if there were any images, and there aren't. Okay, so this says it's a 1,406 square foot single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So that sounds like kind of your standard home, built in 1936. Okay, so I'm going to close that record out. Now, another thing I wanted to see is it listed? Now, it says it's off the market. If I scroll down, I can see if there's a price history. Nothing. So there's no history on this property, so it's incomplete. So I don't have a lot of information. Now, looking at these two properties, one of the, if it was built in 1936 and it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, I'm going to guess it's this one. If you look at this house, this looks like a much newer design. Everything about this property says that this is a newer home. So I'm going to guess that I'm looking at this one here. I didn't have a picture on the Zillow page. Now, one of the things Kurt will always tell you is drive by the property. Okay, make sure you know what you're getting. Make sure you know which property it is. Now, if I hit the street view option, then I can also see if there's more. Now, notice there's a school on that side. Okay, so it appears to me, again, that it's going to be this one. Now, if I see street numbers, let's go in front of the big house. Okay. Now, is this the one? Oh, I don't see street numbers. So this is, again, this is why it's always a good decision to go by the property and make sure you're looking at the right one. Is that a street number there? Okay. Excuse me. All right. So notice that you can kind of change your angle. I really think this is the home, the one with the white fence. I really think that's the one. And I'm going to go back to my bird's eye view. And again, I'm going to assume that's the one right there, okay, where that blue dot is. So let's run with that assumption for the moment. If I drive by the property and find out it's actually this one, then that would tell me that they made some changes. Now, a few more things I want to look at because it's helpful to know. Look at the trustor. That's the borrower. Person who borrowed the money is the trustor. The owner is the person on title. They're usually going to be the same party. And the address for the mail is going to be usually the same. And that's the case here. So Curtis and Deborah Miller, they live at this property. This is their home. Now, a couple other things. First of all, now we know there's a school across the street. If that matters to you, so be it. To me, it just means that's another extra selling point if I'm buying the property for the purposes of flipping. Now, notice that the loan that's foreclosing is in first position. It's a loan from 2005 or a refinance loan. How do I know it's a refi? Look at the purchase date down here on the right, 1980. That's the year I graduated high school. So I can tell you this, I'm in my early 50s. These folks are not spring chickens. These are an older couple. It's very possible that the reason that they're in default is that they simply have reached a point where they can no longer make their payments. Either they're unable, I think they're unable. I don't think they're unwilling. Okay. Now notice something else. I've got a first for $250 from 2005 and what looks like a second from 2016, September of 2016. That's less than a year ago. Okay. Now is it possible that this is a modification of the first loan? That's one of the things I would do is if I was researching this to go make an offer, is I would verify whether or not this was a separate loan or a modification. What if they'd gotten ill? What if one of them passed on and the other got ill and they were unable to keep their payments up on that first and then they fell extremely behind and they got a modification? Then they would only owe about $400,000 on this property from that modification from September, and the delinquency of $27,000 would be that they got a modification and then could not make the modified payment schedule. If that's the case, then I've got a house that's worth about $940,000 where they only owe about $440,000 on the property. And I would go after that in a heartbeat and make an offer subject to the existing loans. Okay, I would not let this property go anywhere near the auction. Okay, and I would beat my competitors to the punch on getting this deal. If, however, I look it up and I find out these are two separate loans, then that would mean that they have approximately, as our system says, $655,000 in debt. That's still enough room. That's still plenty of room for me to make a deal if I go to the property and either Curtis or Deborah is available to do the deal. They could both be there, or neither one of them. I could go to knock on the door and the neighbor comes out and says, oh, they're not there anymore. Okay, or I go there to talk to them and find out that they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do, but they have debt of almost $700,000 on this place. And believe me, if they don't know what to do, they're at a complete and total loss. They have no idea what to do. But if they could sell this property to me and walk away with $50,000 to $100,000 and I've still got it $150,000 below market, then I might be in a perfect spot to turn right around, do some dressing on this property and make an instant $100,000. Okay. Now, the other option is let it go to auction. Okay, so if it goes, let's say that I go to the house, I go to make an offer, either they're unwilling or disinterested, or knock, 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 nobody answers the door because they're gone. Okay, then my option is to wait it out and be ready to buy this property at the trustee's sale and just do my homework and make sure there's nothing senior. And this is important. If I'm buying at the auction, a purchase date of 1980 and a loan date of 2005 means there's a 25-year gap here between the date they bought the property and the date they borrowed that, what looks like a foreclosing first. Now, our researchers are very good. This is probably the first, okay? However, if I'm going to bid at the trustee sale, I better make sure. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to do with this property. First of all, using the functions of the website, I'm going to send myself an email. Notice right next to, or right above their contact information, I'm going to close that. Right above their contact information is the send by email option. It's hard to see, but it's right there. Now, I can send myself an email regarding this property. County, right? And I can just say check title. I want to know what the loans are. I want to find out if in fact there's only one loan and they just fell grievously behind on that first. If that's the case, if they only owe $400,000 on a $940,000 house, I'm going to make an offer like anything. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Okay, so I'm going to send myself an email. Notice, so I just sent myself that information. I could do the same thing if I have a coworker, an associate. If I have a client that says, hey, Bob, I want you to find me something on Naples Island, and this is the one that popped up, okay? And he might look at that and go, oh, I love it. Make an offer for me, okay? Because I'm hungry and I want to do a deal, right? So I send that over to him. Now, let's say I'm also interested in saving this to my Properties folder. Okay, so now I'm going to do a trick here because I don't think I have a Naples Island folder. So I'm going to close this profile out, and I'm going to go back to my main page, and then I'm going to go up top and I'm going to select my manage folders option. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. Okay, now I didn't think I had a Naples Island folder, and I'm right. So this is my folders, my folders option under my account. It's actually called Manage Folders, and this is my folders. And if I scroll down, they're alphabetical. Notice there's no Naples Island folder. Now, on your account, you might not have all these different folders. So if you don't, then this section right here will be up on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in Naples Island as a folder, and I'm going to hit add folder, and now watch what it just did. It just saved Naples Island alphabetically right under Monterey, okay? Because I've been looking in Monterey as well. I love using this site, so I've been looking in a lot of different places. So now, notice I can go back to my search results tab. I'm using Google Chrome, by the way. One of the nice things I like is that I can leave that folder tab open and then go right back to it. Now, if I click on the Venetia Drive address, okay, here I'm right back in the folder, right? Or I'm right back in the profile. Now watch what I can do. Right above the map is a save button. Right next to the save button is my folder window, and I'm going to click the down button, and I'm going to scroll down, and lo and behold, there's Naples Island. Now, I closed the profile, right? I went back to my folders page, and I added that Naples Island folder. Now when I reopened the profile, and now I can drop this property into that folder. Okay, so now notice the save button is gone. Now also notice that I have a section down on the bottom where I can type in notes if I go by the property, and I can upload photos if I take pictures. Okay, so that's all very exciting. So I'm going to close that out. Okay, and I'm going to close out my search results. There's only the one property, right? Okay, now notice it took me back to my folders page because that's where I went, right? But that's okay. I'm still okay. Watch what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my account. I'm going to go to my searches. This is the list of my searches. Remember, I set up that polygon search, right? And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to select my Naples Belmont NOD polygon just by clicking on it. And look, here's my LA County South. If I scroll down, here's my general property search section, and there's my Belmont Shore polygon. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this very same polygon, and I'm going to save it as a sale notice search. And there's a method to my madness. Watch, I'm going to pick upcoming trustee sales instead, and I'm going to save it again. So now I'm going to go ahead and save this search. And now with notices of sales selected, it's memorized my polygon again, and I'm going to call this my Naples, Belmont, NTS poly. Now, it's the very same search with the same basic criteria, and I could have been a lot more specific. I could have specified single family, multifamily, commercial, what have you, okay? But for my specific application need, I have myself or my client had wanted something on this island or in Belmont Shore, but this is what came up, okay? Now, I'm setting this search up as a saved search for sale notices because one of the things that many people ask us is, hey Bob, I'm following this property on Venetia. How do I know if a notice of sale is going to come up on that property? Well, I'm going to hit save, and now I have a saved search for notices of sale in that unique polygon wrapped around Naples Island and Belmont Shore. But what's more important is I now have the ability to set up a notifications function that's an automated foreclosure researcher that's working on my behalf 24/7. Whenever we add new records for that specific target area, if a new notice of sale pops up, such as specifically on this Venetia address, then I want to be notified. So watch what I do is I just use the activate notifications option and I click on it one time. Now, notice it's highlighted now in blue, and activate now says deactivate because now my option is to turn it off. So it's been automated, it's turned on, it's ready to rock and roll. From now forward, any new notices of trustee sale on properties within that specific polygon, I'm going to get an email saying, hey Bob, look what's up. Okay. Now, secondly, because I set up that NOD search as well, I want to activate that as well. Now we see why the reason that I named them the way I did too, because both of these are Naples Belmont, but one says NOD and one says NTS. Now, in my email inbox, I get emails every day, okay? I'm just checking to see if I've got any new ones. Now, remember what I said? I just sent myself an email reminding me to check this property, and I said check title. That's the email that I sent myself just moments ago. It's already in my inbox with a link to the property profile so I can go to it and then make my call to a title company. So see how easy that is? But more importantly, I'm going to go to my County Records Research email folder because I create a folder because I get so many every day. Now, look at these different property emails that I get. Here's one in, this is for my residential, okay, this is one that I set up for properties in the area of Indio. 2-bedroom, 1 bath and above. And this is Desert Hot Springs, Palm Desert. This is all Riverside County. Notice this list that matches the polygon that I created for notices of default in Riverside County. That's a list, okay? Here's one that I set up for the Lancaster area. So I've got Santa Clarita, Canyon Country, and Palmdale. It's a list. Now, this is a notice of trustee sale polygon I call Big Lancaster because I wrapped a big box around the Lancaster area. So now, whenever these emails come in, this is my Palm Springs 3-bedroom, 2-bath notice of default polygon. Whenever these emails come in, I have a header that tells me what's in it. So if my client that's been asking me to look for 3-bedroom, 2-bath and above in Palm Springs, this one's on Sunrise Way, I can open this property up and find out what's going on with it. So as I set up these automated functions and they come into my inbox every day, I know what's inside that file based on the name I gave that saved search. Okay, now I want to show you one more thing. So we're going to go to our Belmont Shore notice of sale polygon, the one I just created, and let's see if we have any upcoming auctions in that target area. Now, notice it just changed the date range from listed to auction dates because it's sale notices. I'm going to hit search polygon. Let's see if we get anything. Okay, now I didn't know if I'd get anything, and there we've got something. This is on. This is also on the island, and this is on Via de Roma Walk. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up this folder. Okay, so notice where this one, a completely different spot. That one was over here by the school. This one is here facing Bayshore Walk. So this is on 15 Via de Roma Walk. If I hit my bird's eye, I can see the property. Okay, so now so this is big, 2628 square feet on a 2481 square foot lot. So, okay. So this looks like this is a two-story on a very small lot is what it looks like. That's why I'm reading this one. I'd need to learn more about it, but it looks like a very small lot. So they packed a lot of property into a very small space, but it could be something that someone wants because look at how close it is to the water. Okay, really nice spot. So, okay, let's say that I'm interested in this particular property. This one's set to go to auction. Oh my gosh, this one's set to go to auction today. We're going to have some results. This is perfect. This is what I'm going to leave you with. This property is set to go to sale today. Wow, it looks like the bank is owed $18 million. Oh, wow, I can't believe that's right. There's got to be something wrong with that. Okay, that's one of the things that you look at and say, okay, maybe there's a decimal point in the wrong spot, but that just, on $1 million first, it says they owe 18 million. I got to say, I think if I did my research, I think if I pulled up a copy of that notice of sale, I'm going to guess they owe 1.8. Okay, that's bad enough. Now the lender in this case is going to ask for something around market value. If they owe 1.8, and again, I'm going to guess I'm right, then I think the lender is going to open the auction for somewhere closer to it's worth 1.6. I think they'll open the auction for about 1.2, 1.3. That's my guess. Okay, let's see if I'm right, but I'm not going to find out at this moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the status change option at the bottom of the profile, and I'm going to say email me when the status changes. This will tell me if there was an opening bid today. This will tell me if the lender dropped the price. This will tell me if the property sold. If it gets postponed to another date, which I'm thinking will probably happen most likely because notice the initial sale date and the current sale date are the same. I think this will get postponed, but let's find out. So I'm going to select email me when the status changes, and I'm going to put my email address in here. Right, and I'm going to hit submit. And then just for argument's sake, I'm going to drop this into my Naples folder, and I'm going to hit save. Okay. And I've done my research for today, and we've learned how to save properties. We've learned how to set up searches and save them. We've learned how to set up folders in our My Properties system, as well as save searches and automate them. So I think we've done well for the day. Can I select both boxes in that request? I don't know. Oh, I see what you mean, Rich. Okay. Notice that down below I had selected email. I can also set up the text as a separate option. Okay, so I can set up one and then the other. And then just to show you how this looks, I'm going to close out my search results. I'm going to go back to my account, and I'm going to go to my Properties folders. And notice that I can select email notifications, and the record that I just saved right here on Via de Roma Walk is in my email notifications. Now, if I saved it to my text notifications, it would be here. Now, I don't have any text notifications set because I use my phone if I have to, but I prefer email personally. That's what I like, because that way I can always go back and check my email information. I can check my email folders, and I actually have a county records research folder in my email window. So yes, you can absolutely do that. And if you decide that you no longer need them, you can go in and delete them by clicking on the delete option. and hitting delete. And you'll notice anytime you go to delete anything out of any of your records, the system always asks you if you're sure. If you want to really delete it, click OK. I'm going to hit cancel because no, I decided I want to keep that property there on Redondo Boulevard in Los Angeles because maybe that's an opportunity. Oh, actually this one just sold at auction. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and close that one out. I'm going to hit delete and I'm going to say, okay, let's get rid of that one because that one sold at auction. Somebody beat me on that deal, but I've got many more coming down the pipeline. So I'm going to use all my folder systems to find the next one. This has been Bob with County Records Research. We went a little bit over today, but we had an exciting research day. We looked at some property information. We looked at how to use the service. We looked at how to set up folders. We looked at how to set up searches. And more importantly, we saw 2 properties on Naples Island, either one of which is potentially a deal depending upon what happens next.